Hey folks, David Frost, LazyGapTrader.com. In this video, we're talking about day trading. More specifically, we're talking about gap trading. There's two forms of gap trading the way I teach it. The morning gap trades and gap fill trades. And when there are no morning gap trades to be had because stocks that are gapping higher or lower at the open just aren't giving us the preferred numbers that we want in order to trade the stocks, have no fear because there's another trade around the corner. You're looking at a chart of General Mills, GIS is the symbol. And let's go over first to the email that goes out to subscribers at 9 o'clock in the morning, 30 minutes before the market opens, and I'm going to explain exactly what happened today thus far. Here's the email that goes out at 9 o'clock. This morning, we had three possible gap trades on the list: Unilever, Kraft Heinz, and HSBC. Unfortunately, none of those three hit the levels that we were willing to take a trade at. In my course, what I teach is when stocks are gapping higher or lower at the open, we can calculate and identify areas that A, stocks will be drawn to like a magnet, and B, generally will have a price reaction from in the other direction. These are the numbers you see on the screen. For example, in Unilever, 43.70. That was an area that we would have expected a bounce from because the stock was gapping lower. It didn't get to the level, therefore it's a no trade. We only want the premium trade setups. We want them when they come to our preferred levels. However, the second part of my course is I teach gap fill trades. When stocks have a gap higher or lower at the open, they leave open a gap that will later come back to be filled. Now, when the stocks come back to fill these gaps, we want to keep a running list. We want to be able to identify when stocks are coming back to fill gaps. Some of the stocks you see on the list under gap fill trades, these were gaps left open from either weeks or even months or potentially years ago. We want to keep a running list so that we know that when stocks come back to fill important gaps, there's a possible trade there depending on how the stocks come in to those levels, which is again precisely what I teach in my course. This morning, even though we didn't have any morning gap trades, we had already two gap fill trades. Now, each morning when I send out my morning gap trades, I also send out the list you see in front of you of possible gap fill trades. We had two that hit their levels this morning. Finisar, FNSR. You can see where I say gap fill level at $34.78. We'll take a look at that stock in a minute. The second one was GIS, or General Mills, and you can see here the gap fill level was $61.54. Let's go back and take a look at those stocks now. Back on the chart again of General Mills, and you can see $61.54 represented by the horizontal line running across the screen. You can see this morning the stock made a high of $61.59 and immediately pulled back, and now is trading, as I make this video, about $1 lower than the gap fill level or the suggested short sale from the $61.54 level. Everything you're seeing here, I teach in my course at LazyGapTrader.com. Let's go take a look at the other one that filled its gap this morning, Finisar. Now you can see Finisar at $34.78 was the gap fill level. And you can see in the first candle of the day, the stock went through that gap a little bit, making a high of $35.12. That also happens to be within the stop loss limitation that I teach in my course at LazyGapTrader.com. What you can also see is that at 11 o'clock in the morning, the stock made a low of $34.24, representing a maximum possible gain of 54 cents. And on a $34 stock, that's a tremendous scalp trade from a stock that you only had to hold for about an hour and a half. Folks, I teach two gap trading strategies in my course. The morning gap trades, where we're identifying stocks that are gapping higher or lower at the open a certain amount. We only play stocks that meet certain criteria. All that's taught in the course. The second strategy in the course is the gap fill strategy that you saw two examples of here today. I give them out at 9 o'clock in the morning. I set you up for the day. This is a wonderful strategy in order for you to learn the foundation for a strategy that's repeatable, consistent and produces consistent profits over and over and over again. Folks, come over, check out the course at lazygaptrader.com. You can learn how to do this for yourself each and every day. I'm David Frost. Thanks for tuning in, folks.